support.
The maestro, please!
For those of you that have hated having your first snow of the season, here's some music to distract you. This will be for the week of
November 5th. 2019.
On this day in music back in 1999, singer Andrea Bocelli released his Sacred Arias album, becoming the best-selling classical album of all time by a single artist. So for those of you that are familiar with the Four Seasons, you know it's typically a set of concerti for a violin, but Luka Sulic is actually a cellist, so if you want to hear the Four Seasons focused around a cello as opposed to a violin, you got something new to listen to. Those darn millennials with their choirs and orchestras. No, but really, the whole purpose of this organization is to promote education and learning about both sacred and classical music through their choir and orchestra. And it's actually very well put together, so I can recommend it easily.
Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing, because the best part of the holidays is sugar and booze. Wake up, baby, don't you hit the snooze.
Most people probably know her as more of a comedian, especially because she was on Saturday Night Live. Regardless, she's also a very talented jazz singer, and yes, her sense of humor does come through with her music. You really just need to look at the album title to get that.
Your poetry in motion, if I'm being honest with you.
This is another one of those albums that's honestly closer to hip-hop than anything else. In addition to the Soul Rebels, there's a number of rappers on here, Big Freedia, Passport P, D1, and honestly, I always enjoy this stuff because I'm a big sucker for any sort of rapper when they're accompanied by a brass band.
And you give to me true love.
If the subtitle didn't tip you off, this is Harry Connick Jr.'s tribute album to American composer Cole Porter. Most people know Cole Porter for making Anything Goes, the popular Broadway musical, and most people know Harry Connick Jr. for being Harry Connick Jr.
Singing,
I love rock and roll. There's a rainbow of colors in the old USA.
This is Neil Young's 39th studio album. Given it's his first with the band Crazy Horse, this album is actually a tribute to his late manager, Elliot Roberts, who died earlier this year. Elliot Roberts was his manager since 1967.
I did it again, no control over my emotions, 1 year on and I still can't focus.
Not his debut studio album, but his major label debut now that he's on Sony Music Entertainment. Not entirely sure I would call this rock, although I see why they put it here considering all the other quote-unquote rock songs that top the charts these days. Regardless, it's a great album.
It's bigger than hip-hop, hip-hop.
Life like, this is what your life like. Try to live the life right. People really know you push your buttons like type right. This is like a movie, but it's really very lifelike. Every single night.
Kanye West's Jesus is King. I mean, we had Griffin's drop last week, so we had the EDM fix. He's still #1, by the way.
And now I need some help from the maestro, please.
am I really that much to handle? Breaking these niggas down like an animal. You don't really to blow you up like a...
When she released this album, she set the record for largest streaming week for a solo female R&B artist, at least in terms of on-demand audio streams, so shout out to her for that.
Hold on, grew up in that fire, huh? He came out of slime, huh? He don't wanna talk cause you gon' die. Motherfucker come behind, cause bitch we slangin' nine. Take his ass up top like...
I always go back and forth on whether I call him YoungBoy Never Broke Again or NBA YoungBoy. But sometimes when I say NBA YoungBoy, all I can think of is basketball.
I did it again, no control over my emotions, 1 year on and I still can't focus.
The thing I enjoyed about this album the most was its use of a lot of just traditional instrumentation. Saxes, strings, and even clarinets, so shout out to Rex Orange County for his diverse use of a wide variety of both electronic and acoustic instruments.
Yeah, Hollywood is bleeding, but we call it home.
West is supposed to be about Hollywood's bleeding, but his previous album, Beer Bongs and Bentleys, tied his previous albums before that, Stoney's record, of spending 77 weeks in the top 10 of the R&B and hip-hop charts, a record that he himself has set, so, he just tied himself, and maybe he'll beat his own record.
Life like, this is what your life like. Try to live the life right. People really know you push your buttons like type right. This is like a movie, but it's really very lifelike. Every single night.
It's Kanye West doing a gospel album, and everybody and their grandmother has already done an in-depth analysis of it. I honestly don't see what I can contribute to the discussion at this point. I mean, I enjoyed the album to an extent. Kanye West is good at what he does, and that's being Kanye West. I don't know, every time he releases something new, I feel a little bit let down. I guess all I really want is a new Dropout trilogy. There you go! Only one Christmas album so far, unless you count Brian Culbertson's Winter Stories, but that was more of a winter album? I don't know, I guess you can call it a Christmas album.
And now I need some help for the West Coast, please.